yourteamsucks.club. It's just me and Jordan today. We're just hanging out post Super Bowl, post NFL season, and we had been talking about the Niners. And usually when a team loses the Super Bowl in this day and age, they fall off pretty hard. And so,
other than New
Jordan,
England.
so what do you think is going to happen with the Niners now?
See, if you had asked me last year, and definitely the Rams overpaid some players, which led to their demise this year, and I don't think they're totally done either. But I would have thought the Falcons when they lost the Super Bowl, I would have thought the Rams when they lost the Super Bowl. You're seeing a team that just came off an epically good season, and that came for the 49ers too. And you never expect them to just straight fall apart, right? But
Right.
what are we looking at there? Really, you're looking at a 49ers team with a very good defense. We'll see if they can keep Armstead on the defensive line. That's a big one. You're looking at one of the most expensive teams in the league, but they've already paid almost everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So they should get everybody back, which is a very big deal. They aren't going to have very much cap space. We'll see how the new collective bargaining agreement goes. That could help them out and all the other teams really close to the line a lot. I see their secondary they're getting older. They got exposed in the Super Bowl by the Chiefs. They need to add some pieces there. Obviously not going to have a lot of high draft picks because, hey, they were the runner-up in the Super Bowl. But I like them to be able to repeat their performance in a really tough NFC. I'd like it better if it was the AFC, but I think they're going to continue to be good next year. I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. Kittle's already referring it to the revenge tour next year, which if it's a revenge tour on top of going 12-4, I mean, they're going to be nasty.
Yeah.
I love the coaching. I love the role pieces. I think their wide receiver core gets better. Debo Samuels as a rookie's just coming into his own. What do you think?
I think there's a lot of variables that come into play here. What does Drew Brees do? I still like the Saints to reload. The Saints, I think, are going to come back strong. I think Brees will play for one more year at least. I think that plays into it pretty big. I think the Vikings are going to be strong again. But I do think the Niners will probably go back to the Super Bowl, and then they'll lose again. And right now, as far as coaching in the Super Bowl, Kyle Shanahan in the fourth quarter has been outscored by a ridiculous amount. And I think
I feel bad for him. He's responsible for the
I don't feel bad for him.
two worst Super Bowl collapses in NFL history. And he's a young guy. I mean, that's rough.
No, he's a young guy. He's had two opportunities in the Super Bowl, and he effed both of them up. Now, I picked KC to win because I thought it was like a year of destiny. And I figured even with 7 minutes left, I felt really good about my bet that I made on the game. And, but I just don't see them winning a Super Bowl anytime soon with his coaching style in the Super Bowl. And I could be wrong about that, of course, but
he can adjust. I'm not too concerned about that. I honestly think he coached a fairly good game. I think his secondary was outmatched to those speedy wide receivers. He just didn't have enough speed on secondary. Kels didn't light him up as much as he's lighting up other teams. Overall, their defensive line did a good job of shutting down Mahomes. They did well, but I don't like how they went away from the run at the end of the game. And I would put this loss more on the quarterback than the coach.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he got out coached, and I'll tell you why. Is because Kansas City basically changed up a lot of what they do normally. They ran the ball quite a bit. They played ball control, and they kept the game relatively close, and then turned it on. And I think that, they should have probably had, been able to foresee what Andy Reid was trying to do there. And I think that's one of Kyle Shanahan's problems is that when he gets a lead in the Super Bowl so far, he has a hard time sort of understanding what he needs to do to keep winning. You look at the first, at the end of the first half where it was very indecisive. He was like, well, I'm going to run the clock out. Well, whoa, no, I'm not. I'm going to throw it down the field. It was just very indecisive.
I agree. I also think they got hosed on that call.
And so I think when you look at that, he sort of choked twice. And, we'll see. He's a great young coach. Don't get me wrong. I think eventually he'll get a ring. But I think he got out-coached by one of the best coaches to ever coach in this game. I think Andy Reid has adjusted his style. They went, they didn't try to outscore him by a crazy amount in the early part of the game. They played a little bit of ball control. They went against the weakness of the Niners by running the ball against them. That is a weakness of the Niners. They don't stop the run very well. And
They
so I think,
don't.
them not emphasizing, Kyle Shanahan not really understanding and projecting what Andy Reid was going to do really hurt them. And I think that they will get better. They're going to have to get better against the run if they're going to win the Super Bowl, especially now that you have Patrick Mahomes and you have Andy Reid that are now could go on a run. They could definitely
I
go on a
do like
run.
them to become the next dynasty now that I think we both agree that the Patriots are on their way out, if not
Oh, yeah.
done. It looks like Tom Brady's not going back there. And I think the next dynasty could easily be the Chiefs. Now there's some hurdles there. They got to pay Mahomes. I mean, he's gonna set records for paychecks in the
Yeah,
NFL.
he might, but this kid strikes me as a Tom Brady-esque sort of mentality. I think he will take
I'm
less
not
money
sure
to
from what
keep.
I've read.
I think he'll take less money to keep some of the talent around him. Maybe he'll make it up in incentives and make it up in endorsements, but I believe that he wants to win. And I think you saw that. I think the kid has a lot of heart, man. I mean, to be the only team in the history of the NFL to come back in every playoff game from double digit,
Wow, yeah,
numbers is crazy. And that was why I predicted for them to win the Super Bowl, was because that's what
they're never
champions
out of it.
do, right? Champions have that mentality. And I think, the kid is 24 years old. I think, I don't think he's going to be as concerned about the money as he is winning. And so we'll see.
We'll
Obviously, I
see.
could be wrong about that. He's going to get paid, no doubt
There's a
about
lot to
it.
like about Mahomes. There's a lot to like there.
There
First
is.
Texas college boy to win a Super Bowl. So take that, Texas and Texas A&M came from
Yeah,
Texas Tech,
we'll
right?
take it.
We'll
but
take it.
but I do
And
think I
still
don't think
dating his
the
high
Niners
school
win one.
sweetheart, seems to have his head on his shoulders, not all over social media or partying. He works hard,
Yeah,
good team player. Really, from that offense he came from in Texas Tech, where they barely called plays and it was all hurry up and it was all passing. He always had the arm talent, but a lot of people fault the Bears for not taking him. He would not be the quarterback that we have today
yeah,
had he gone to the Bears and not sat with Andy Reid behind Alex Smith for a year.
yeah.
They would have ruined him the way they ruined Trubisky, and we would all be talking about how great Trubisky is in the Super Bowl because he got the coaching. And
Right.
so I like Mahomes a lot. I like his ability to adapt and his ability to learn that. He's very coachable. He learned that
Right. And
system.
and so keep in mind is that they've been really good, Kansas City, for since he started.
Right.
And you have Jimmy Garoppolo, and you have the Niners, and they've been respectable, but I honestly think they have a chance of falling off next year, like a lot of Super Bowl hangover teams do, and it's because they don't have that incredibly dynamic offensive player. Right? They don't. They have to
What do you
really
call
earn those
Kittle?
wins.
Kittle's the
Oh yeah, okay.
closest thing to Gronk since Gronk
Yeah,
left.
they have one, right? They have one, but they have a great young play caller,
Samuel
and
has a chance.
they're going to have to upgrade, I think, at the running back position, wide receiver position, to become more explosive, because they're going to run into teams that are going to be much more explosive. And I know they scored a lot of points, and people say, oh, they scored, but they scored a lot of those points in back and forth games, and some of that, was earned, and some of it was just great play calling by Shanahan. Well, they're going to
Well, they
figure
won a
out
shootout against the Saints,
who does.
so
Uh,
I keep going back to it, but they won a shootout against the Saints. I
and they
like
did.
them to re-sign Emmanuel Sanders. I like Debo Samuel in his second year. He's really coming into his own as a speedster. Kittle's great. Jusic is fantastic. You said they need running backs. I don't think so. I mean, they got McKinnon coming back from injury, which people forget about him. You add Breida to that, who was injured there towards the end. They got Mostert, who came out of nowhere. Well, Dolphins camp, but nowhere, and he all of a
Right.
sudden is great. And they've got Tevin Coleman, who Shanahan also had on the Falcons, who he really likes, is the speed guy. I don't know why you don't go with the hot hand, the back by committee there. Great fullback, great tight end. And this year is the draft for the wide receiver. They're way too
Yeah.
far down the board to get Judy or a CeeDee Lamb, but everybody else is still in play, and there's about 4 or 5 other good ones for the first and second round for them. If they want to get wide receivers, they could get a really, really stud wide receiver in the second.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I just think that the competition is going to catch up to them, and I think this was their year. They may go back, but I don't think they're going to win. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, that's going to do it for this conversation. Like, share, and we will see y'all next time.